What is good, everybody? What is good? I hope everybody is doing well. Hope you guys are making your dreams come true, making plans, following through on those plans, making your life the best that it can be, manifesting, going forward, all that kind of good stuff, right? All right. So I got a good one for us today. We're going to be analyzing some videos that were put out, just two videos. And I've been thinking about doing this one for a little bit now, and it's about why women have sex. Now, this is going to be a blind reaction. I did not actually watch the video, but we're going to watch it together and I'm going to give my reaction. So it's a video I saw a couple weeks ago. It's been getting a lot more views. When I first saw it, it had 20 something thousand, and now I don't even know what the number is now. We'll check it out. All right. So, but first, I wanted to start off with a short little warm up video. And before I do that, let me just bring up the lady who it comes from here. And this is from the Happy Wife School. I had her name up here. Actually, I think it's in her. I think it's in here. The Happy Wife School. Anyway, so she's a former. I know her name was out here somewhere. Anyway, so I don't know her. I was looking for her qualifications. Oh, here it is. Karen Seitz. Karen Seitz. Apparently, she was a former unhappy wife who emasculated her husband, and now she learned the error of her ways, and now she has gone about and trying to change her image and all this kind of stuff. So, all right, so that's who this particular lady is, and I'm saying that because I'm going to play a clip that was on Instagram, and I cut as much out from the individual because I just don't believe in really eating off of other people. I just don't believe in that. So that's my own personal philosophy. So I think you got to put in your own work and all that kind of stuff. So, but although I'm reacting to this, but I am giving credit to where it's due. So this is a clip that was on Instagram, about a 1 minute clip, and I want to show this. It's because it's going to be in relation to this particular stuff. Now, the lady I just played, Happy Wife School, Karen Seitz, she has made numerous videos about this particular topic. Why women have sex, why they stop having sex, and the emasculation and the mental gymnastics and the mental games that women put men through, and particularly for their husbands, and this is important. We're talking about why men don't want to get married. Well, this is another reason, right? They don't want the sex to stop. So that's what Karen Seitz talks about, and that is what I assume what we're going to watch today. So here's the video here. Here's the short clip that was on Instagram.
Stories. My husband and I met. It was great. I had plenty of it. I enjoyed it. He enjoyed it. We had fun together. And then once I knew I had him, I put walls up. I didn't want to get undressed around him anymore. If he came in and he tried to hug me, I would jerk away. And I had all kinds of stories built up about why I was doing this. I denied to myself the real reasons why, which is what most of us as women do. I didn't withdraw it or withhold it completely. Women listening who are open-minded, you'll know that we have this mental calendar where it's like, okay, I had it. That'll probably buy me a week or two, and then that time starts running out and we start building this anxiety of when we're going to need to engage with again, to give just enough to make it seem just enough to keep getting what we want. And we let our stories and our games begin. And the sad part is that a good man falls for all those stories.
I'm going to play that again because it was low on my end, and I don't know how it came off on your end here. So I'm going to play it. I'm going to play it again just because it was low on my end.
Stories. My husband and I met. It was great. I had plenty of it. I enjoyed it. He enjoyed it. We had fun together. And then once I knew I had him, I put walls up. I didn't want to get undressed around him anymore. If he came in and he tried to hug me, I would jerk away. And I had all kinds of stories built up about why I was doing this. I denied to myself the real reasons why, which is what most of us as women do. I didn't withdraw it or withhold it completely. Women listening who are open-minded, you'll know that we have this mental calendar where it's like, okay, I had it. That'll probably buy me a week or two, and then that time starts running out and we start building this anxiety of when we're going to need to engage with again, to give just enough to make it seem just enough to keep getting what we want. And we let our stories and our games begin. And the sad part is that a good man falls for all those stories.
All right. So if you're a young lady or you're in a marriage and you find yourself doing this type of stuff, head over to the Happy Wife School. Maybe you watch a couple of her videos. She also has a website. You can reach out to her and see if she can help you, figure out why you're playing these games and all this type of stuff, right? And so I had a conversation with Be Mindful, go over to those, talking about, kind of hinting around and kind of beating around the bush about this exact topic, why men don't want to get married, the lack of sex. I asked V, how many times does does your man ask for it in whatever way he does, verbal cues, physical cues, however he wants it, and what's the ratio of him asking versus the woman, giving up? And I wanted the average about all women. I know she doesn't know all women or all that, but what do you think the average is? She said about 4-1. So every time, for every 4 times the guy asked, the woman will kick in once. Now, there's obviously some ladies out there who wanted more and who will initiate more. So it's a spectrum of a dynamic here. Can't isolate all that, but it's an interesting phenomenon. In this particular case, I got to say, what this video that we just played and what I think what the Happy Wife School was dealing with a lot of times is women who really aren't attracted to their men, and this is why I talk so much about masculinity. I think it's in the book Men on Strike. It's in one of those books that I read. I don't know. It's in a book that was written by a woman that I read, and it was she was saying that there's got to be a great polarity. I think it was Who Stole Feminism. I think it's that book. There's got to be a great polarity. I could be wrong. Let me stop trying to guess books. It's got to be a great polarity. The more masculine the guy is, and the more feminine, then the polarity in the sex will be there. So this dynamic of 50-50 equal, and I've been reading a lot more stuff about this traditional gender roles and people pushing back against that. The problem is that the women don't want these types of men. And when you have this type of stuff going on, and then next thing you know, you have this situation where women are looking at their men as emasculated type of men. They're stay-at-home dads. They're seen as betas, and they're out screwing the pool boys, screwing the construction workers, screwing the guy, their work husband, because they present in a more masculine way. So, so go over to Happy Wife School. She's going to say all this type of stuff. I don't know where her qualifications are. I don't know if she's just a coach or she's got a license. I used to know. I don't know anymore. But go over there and check that out. All right, so let's get into the main event. So this is a young lady. I believe she's of African descent. I've only listened to like 10 seconds of this video, but I will. We're going to watch this together, so we'll get into it. All right, so here we go. This is Why Women Have Sex. The real reasons will blow your mind. So if we know why they're having sex, then we might figure out what causes them to stop. And this is the intentional wife school. So the other one was the Happy Wife School, and this one is the intentional wife school. Now, when I watched this the other day, it's got 263,000 K views. It was 20 when I watched it. She had like 2,000 subs. Now she's got 7,000. This is, so she's obviously on her way up and blowing up and all this kind of stuff. So, all right, so we're going to watch this. We're going to check it out. I'm going to make myself a little bit larger here, and I will interrupt it as I do, claiming fair use. I don't know how much of this we're going to watch. I don't like using all of people's stuff, but we are going to claim fair use, and we're going to use this for educational purposes and all that. All right, so here we go.
You have a switch. Ladies, let's be honest. If there is no medical condition involved in the reason for your attitude towards sex, you have a switch. Well, this switch is
okay. So she's saying the same thing that the Happy Wife School is saying. You have a switch. What causes your switch to go on and off? Again, I've read some literature by some women. I'm pretty sure it was a PhD who wrote it. Been reading so much lately. And she was saying that, this binary, it's got to be a great binary, dynamic, bifurcated analysis, bifurcated way of going through this, of dealing with this. And the more masculine, the more feminine, then that causes the attraction. A masculine man is not going to be attracted to a masculine woman. A feminine woman is not going to be attracted to a feminine man. So you got to have this binary, particularly for sex. You might get married for financial reasons. If you want the sex to continue going on, you got to have this dynamic. All right, there we go.
Is a button you can just turn on or off, and when you want to, you can flip that switch with ease. But here is the real question: why? Like, why does that switch turn on so easily for the bad boys, the ones who don't even deserve your love?
Ooh, for the bad boys. You betas out there, you guys got to get yourself together, right? You guys got to get yourself together. I've been saying this. I've been saying that people want to push back about this, stop talking about thugs and Pookies and Ray Rays and all this kind of stuff. And I want this kind of guy. She's saying it. You get all hot and bothered for these other type dudes.
But suddenly go off when it comes to the loyal, committed husband. Now, another question is, why was intimacy effortless before marriage, but now it feels like a chore? I mean, why does that happen? One look, and I breathe. Well, at the start of a relationship, passion is intense, the excitement is there, the desire is real, and intimacy feels natural. But as time passes, something shifts. The connection weakens, the passion fades, and before you know it, sex becomes rare, forced, or non existent. So, why does this happen? Let's break it down. Because sex isn't just an act, it's a reflection of how a woman views her relationship. And for many wives, sex becomes a tool rather than an expression of true connection.
Hola, eres trader, trabajas en el mercado.
So, it becomes a weapon, a tool. It becomes a weapon or a tool based on what's going on and what she's got going on between her ears. Hold on here. There's another video I might want to play. Hold on a second here. I was looking for another video to play. Here we go.
Now let's talk about how sex becomes a tool. Sex is, for one, a tool for gratitude. This is so not good. Let's talk about something no one wants to talk about and no one wants to admit. Sex is something used as a thank you gift rather than an expression of love. Ever heard a woman say things like, I should give him some tonight. I should give him some tonight. He's been so nice to me. And someone else will say, he took me on the trip, so I guess I owe him a lot. When intimacy is transactional, it loses its meaning. Now imagine this. A man provides for his wife. He supports her. He listens to her. He loves her. And if in the beginning she shows gratitude through sex and it was all going fine, what happens when gratitude fades? If sex was never about genuine desire, once the thank you wears off, the connection crumbles.
Again, here's the origins of it. You weren't really attracted to that man. Let's just call it what it is. You weren't really attracted. You're using it as a weapon. You use it to get what you wanted. You got your foot in the door. You've got the ring. You got your settled down life. You're out the game. You want to settle down. You want to stop running around, but you're really not attracted to this man. He's a good provider, probably a good husband, all this other type of stuff. Being on vacation. Y'all forgive me. I'm on vacation and not my normal setup. Dropping stuff. I'm on vacation, not my normal stuff. I don't have my camera. I don't know why I didn't pack that, but anyway, so you weren't really attracted to him, and here's this lady is admitting it.
Sex should never be a reward system. If it is, it's only a matter of time before it stops completely. So number two, sex as a tool for security. Some women use sex as a form of currency for security. If a man provides a home, pays the bills, and ensures stability, intimacy becomes an unspoken exchange. If she feels safe, she engages.
If she feels safe, I mean, I think that this is, a lot of ladies don't like evolutionary psychology. A lot of ladies don't like evolutionary psychology, and that's the evolutionary underpinnings of where this all comes from. Is the woman has to feel safe, her environment has to be safe. There's no predators, there's no other guys lurking around, and now I can give myself and engage in this act. Right? We got enough food, we got enough security. We're dry, we're warm, we're not cold. We're in a group. Everything's got to be just right. And you as a man have to provide all that. And then what's the reward for that? Okay, I can relax and I can give myself to you. So she's got to feel safe, right? So this is evolutionary psychology talk right here.
If she doesn't, she withdraws. But here's the problem. When sex is a trade, real intimacy disappears. If a wife only connects when the need or when she needs something, is she truly in marriage or just using her marriage? Let's flip the script. Imagine if a husband only gives his wife attention when he wants sex. How would that feel? I know this happened that some men do that, but their what in marriage is reduced to what they provide. This is why many good husbands feel unloved, unseen, and emotionally abandoned. Number 3, sex is seen as a tool for comfort. Let's be honest once again. Every woman wants comfort, a stable home, and emotional security, a stress-free life. These are one of the things women want, but comfort requires effort from both persons, from both partners. A good man deserves to come home to a happy wife, and a happy wife deserves to have a husband who shows up fully in the marriage. But if a wife only engages in intimacy when she feels completely comfortable, what happens when life gets hard? What happens?
Every married man will tell you that if she's not comfortable, she's not happy, she's got something going on. There's a wind blowing in the trees outside. We all know it's going to stop, right? So all this type of stuff, right? I had the conversation with Be Mindful. Shout out to her. If you make a list, I tell men this: if you're making a list of all the reasons you want to get married, kids, legacy, security, someone to talk to, companionship, you make a list of all that. Sex should be last on whatever it is. If you got a 10-point list, it should be number 10, because that's going to stop, or at least minimum drastically reduce. The Happy Wife School talked about that. It slows down, it stops, whatever. It's just young ladies saying the same thing. It's going to stop, and the sexless marriage is classified as 10 times or less in a year. It's barely once a month, 10 times or less in a year. So, they said the average is twice a week. And this is hard to hear what I'm going to say next. This is hard to hear. There was a time when I know ladies don't want to look at themselves, and they should rightly look at themselves as autonomous human beings more than just sexual objects and all that. And guys would work their lives, go to the field, go to the mines, go to the docks, the factories, put up with all this type of stuff in order to come home and have access to this life, which included a woman, included his children, and all this other stuff. His home, of course, his job made him available or more likely to get a woman. And so therefore, when he got a woman, they were able to build a family together. But when times have changed, women aren't providing that anymore. So the reward system for the man just isn't there. I said this all the time. The reward system for the man just isn't there. He doesn't want to come home to a sexless marriage. He doesn't want to come home to the possibility of his woman taking his children by the decree of the state and being a weekend. That they don't want to take this chance anymore. So you got to take a look at that. And here these ladies are. So this is just another nail in the coffin is the why guys, particularly Gen Z and all these other people, are saying, nah, I'm kind of good. If I got to deal with this, I got to make sure that she's constantly in this place, and I'm got to walk around on pins and needles because mama's not happy, nobody, the kids ain't happy, nobody's happy, and I'm not gonna be able to have access. Versus, I just watch my funny movies, or I pay for it, or I just continue to exercise my options. This is what the men are at now.
What if finances take a hit? What if stress builds up? What if there is conflict, or there are conflicts in one way or another? Definitely conflicts will come up. So what happens then? If comfort is the only motivation for intimacy, the moment things get tough, the marriage suffers. True intimacy is about connection and not just convenience. So number 4 is sex as a tool for having children. This is a hard truth, but it is a truth. Some women only desire sex for one purpose and one purpose only: to have children. They dream of a family, and they dream of a stable family to start with, a stable home.
Again, this is just more confirmation that you weren't really attracted to this particular guy. Now, you get the kids, and you don't ever want to touch them again. And listen, my former career, I went into numerous homes like this. I knew men, had interviewed them, talked to them about this, who had only touched their wives once or twice in their entire lives, in their entire married lives, and who were living in that condition because, hey, I want to live in the house with my children. Had only had sex at that particular time. I was on vacation one time. I met a guy like that. He's, we were sitting on the beach just chopping it up, and he's like, "Listen, I haven't touched my wife." His daughter, I believe, at the time was 16. He hadn't touched her in 16 years. But he just I'm like, this is a thing. This is a thing.
And a future with kids. But once that goal is met and achieved, sex becomes less frequent and stops completely. Why? Because the mission is complete. But when a husband becomes just a sperm donor, the relationship loses its emotional depth. Now, the relationship has to be actually deep. That is what marriage is all about. But if a wife gets busy with motherhood, the focus shifts to the children, the romantic connection fades, soon the husband feels like a stranger in his own home.
Listen, I'm going to tell you that, man. You gotta maintain strong ties with your wife while you're, and she has to reciprocate, because it's so tempting to everything just becoming about the children. Oh, I'm tired. The kids are crying. I got to feed the kids. I got to make their lunch. I got to go see about their baseball practice. I got to do everything's about the kids, and there's no time for me. And this is how men start to watch the funny movies and develop addictions. I'm going to do a video about that. Somebody asked me to do a video about that. This is how that happens. You've got the kids, you've got the family, you've got security. You're not really super attracted to him because he doesn't have all the masculine qualities of the guy that you were dealing with in college, or the guy that you down at the docks, or the guy who's whispering to you or whistling at you at the construction site, or this police officer you saw over here, the firefighter over there. He doesn't have it. He doesn't have it. And not that he's a bad guy, not that he's a bad dad, but you just don't have that animal magnetism to him. Look at the look on her face here as I pause this. So he doesn't have it. You're not really attracted to him. And then you got your kids, one or two, or whatever you want, and you just move on. And you trying to convince men to sign up for this in 2025.
Let's talk about sex as a tool for financial gains. Let's be real. Some women use sex to secure a wealthy lifestyle. It's almost everywhere.
Clearly has always been a thing, pay to play and all this kind of stuff.
They engage passionately when there is a luxurious trip on the table, when there's an expensive gift involved in almost everything they do, when there's a promise of financial stability. But here's the question: what happens when the money disappears? Crickets, right?
Yeah, so do they. I mean, obviously she's talking about marriage, but when the money disappears, so do they, right? All these people who are getting flued out all over the place, there's an expectation. He's not just flying you out because whatever. There is an expectation.
What really does happen? If a marriage was built on transactional intimacy, then what happens when financial hardship comes? So does emotional detachment. They come hand in hand. Love should never be based on what a husband can buy. Intimacy should never be a business exchange. If sex is bargained like a contract, a marriage will never feel real. So then, let's talk about the dangerous cycle of schedule.
I was watching Auntie Anita. She was talking about this, where men, particularly over the age of 50, are just paying to play. And I was thinking about doing a reaction to that. Maybe I'll talk about it now. I think a lot of men who are over the age of 50 have gone through this exact type of thing. The sexless marriages, it all stopping, the love bombing, and then it stops. The amount of sex, then it stops. So guys over 50 are like, yeah, okay, listen, I just if she's admitting that we just do it when I give you some gifts, I just give you the gifts. And then I don't have to deal with this emotional roller coaster, making sure you're safe and secure. Here it is. Here's the transaction. Here it is. I'll buy you some earrings. I'll buy you a bag, whatever, whatever. And listen, I'm trying to get away from pointing the finger. Trying to get away from pointing the finger. I'm trying to get away from pointing the finger. But we have to admit that ladies have caused this problem. Because you're giving it away outside of marriage. So now a 50-year-old guy will say, okay, well, I just buy it. I just pay for it. I just do this. If the ladies are the gatekeepers, men are always going to be on the hunt and the prowl. It's up for you. And this is, again, I know a lot of ladies, particularly feminists, particularly some academics, don't like to talk about evolutionary psychology. I know they don't like to talk about it. But if evolutionary psychology is telling us that women want to be safe, secure, and then just select for the best mate, if you don't have to do that anymore, you can just have sex because of different scientific methods to prevent pregnancy, then we just run around doing it. And so now I don't have to save myself for marriage. I don't have to save myself for religious reasons. I don't have to save myself. And as a woman, you can just go up there and just party willy-nilly, just give it out. Okay, well, then the guys are going to say, okay, I don't need to be in a relationship. I'm just going to get it from someplace else. So this is a dilemma. I'm not trying to bash. I'm just saying that this is an obvious truth. If we drastically cut back, if there was a drastic reduction in the availability of ladies, that they were more selective and making sure that the men who were in their life stayed in their life, then they would stay in there. Then the men would act better. But right now, there's no incentive to do it. And she's talking about it. She's talking about it. Happy Wife School talked about it. You have busted the agreement. You busted the incentive. It isn't there anymore.
Scheduled sex. Here is where it gets worse. So why schedule sex just to keep the marriage going, just to keep the marriage running? It could be twice a month, just enough to avoid complaints. It could be just enough to maintain the illusion of a happy marriage. It could be just enough to keep the peace. But what happens when intimacy becomes an obligation rather than a connection? Resentment builds up. Desire disappears. Love starts to feel like a duty, not a joy. Good men struggle with this. This is why good men feel trapped.
This is why good men feel trapped. Given the divorce rate in the United States and other Western countries, why would you sign up for this for twice a month? Why would you sign up? Why? What kind of man would sign up for this? And those are the ones who are absolutely leaving within a year. We can't really get a good sense of what marriage is statistically, because they usually, if they do a percentage rates or the divorce rates, they do it within a year. But if it was, so how many people are getting divorced, from 2022 to 2023 to 2024 to 20? I mean, that failure rate, it could be you next year. It was me. 1 year, it was me. 1 year you're happy, 1 year you're not. You go from having sex routinely to having it once or twice, and you want men to put up with this. And as she just said, they feel trapped. I'll rewind it a little bit. They feel trapped. They feel trapped. Now I can't do it with anyone else. I'm having it at such an irregular schedule that now I develop adult movie habits, or I'm going to strip clubs, or I'm just completely stepping out. They feel trapped. And everybody, I agree with her. Everyone wants this intense love, commitment, and connection. I think that people genuinely want that. But if you're not being honest with yourself, if the woman is not being honest with herself, she's having sex for the very reasons that she said that you're having sex, for financial gain, to have children, for safety, for security, all these other reasons other than genuine physical, animalistic attraction to your mate. And this is an issue. This is a real issue that women really ought to stop. There's this idea about guys engaging in behaviors and sleeping with women and getting them pregnant and moving on and all this kind of stuff. But if you're using a man for his financial resources or for a sperm donor, as she said, you're just as guilty as everyone else. And for his financial resources. And I'm not saying that a woman shouldn't look for a man who has financial resources, because you certainly want to make sure that he can help support any children that come into the world or give you a good life. Certainly that is a reasonable request. But if you really still, after all that, you still aren't really attracted to him, but of course, then the incentive comes in with the divorce, because you're incentivized to do it. Oh, what does it matter? I just have a couple of his babies. I put them on child support, taking the alimony, get half the pension, half this, half that. It's an incentive.
Up. Desire disappears. Love starts to feel like a duty, not a joy. Good men struggle with this. This is why good men feel trapped. They try to understand. They try to fix things. They try to be patient. But no matter how much effort they put.
Don't get tricked into a marriage. Don't get tricked into a sexless marriage.
The truth remains. If the woman mentally switches off, nothing, absolutely nothing, turns her back on except herself. So what's the solution? Ladies, own your happiness. Intimacy isn't about fulfilling a duty. It's about creating a connection that lasts. If you feel disconnected from your husband, ask yourself, is it really him, or is there something deeper at play? Has intimacy become a tool instead of an expression of love? A strong marriage starts with honest communication, emotional presence, and real connection, not just obligations. So do not expect your wife to be like
real connection, not just obligations.
Having this in her head saying, wife, it's your duty. You're supposed to do this. You're supposed to do that.
Yeah, that ain't gonna work. That ain't gonna work. Particularly if you start quoting Bible scriptures at people, and marriage is honorable, and bed is undefiled, and whatever the other scripture is about doing it because you're come together, or whatever. I can't remember all that, but or even if you're of another religious tradition trying to guilt them into it and not listening, that ain't gonna work. That ain't gonna. Nobody wants to feel like you're SAing your wife. Who wants that? I never can tolerate. Here, just take it. Here, just shut up, sex. Just hurry up and finish. Just do it. I don't want that. I don't want that.
Create an opportunity for her, create an environment for her to be able to make herself happy. It's in her to know what.
Yeah, listen, I'm not doing. I gotta rewind that. I'm not doing all. This is why the 50-year-old guys aren't doing all this. I'm not jumping through hoops to make sure that you're emotional. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing. I can't say me. There's a mindset, and again, I'm citing Auntie Anita, and I think she talked about this once or twice. I'm going to send her a text and ask her about this. I think that in one of her videos, she said, it's a man's job to either help or emotionally regulate his wife's emotions. I'm going to tell you, as a 50-year-old guy, nobody's doing that. We're not doing that. Now, you might get a 30-year-old to do it because he's trying to manipulate the world, still trying to figure things out. But a guy who's been through exactly what this particular young lady and Happy Wife School has talked about, we ain't doing all that. I'm not regulating your emotions. I'm not trying to set the mood. I'm not trying to do none of this. I'm not doing none of that. I'm not doing none of that. Because the truth of the matter is, even after we've done all that, go watch my video with Be Mindful. After we've done all that, we still might not get it. I ain't doing all that. I'm not doing it.
Having this in our head saying, wife, it's your duty. You're supposed to do this. You're supposed to do that. Create an opportunity for her. Create an environment for her to be able to make herself happy. It's in her to know what makes her happy. Opportunity for her.
Create an opportunity.
Wife, it's your duty. You're supposed to do this. You're supposed to do that. Create an opportunity for her. Create an environment for her to be.
Create an environment. No, we're not doing that. No. We're not doing that. No. Just like women have taken their power back, rightfully so, whatever. I'm not bashing that at all. Just saying you've taken your power back. Men, particularly means, are going to say, I'm taking my power back. I'm not going to sit around trying to make you happy. On the off chance that I might get it, perhaps, maybe, probably, there's a 50% chance that I might be in the mood 30 minutes from no. They're gonna take the guarantee. They're gonna take the guaranteed exchange. What does it mean for intimacy? Don't you want to? Yes, we want it. I think that every man really wants to be genuinely loved. I genuinely want to be loved, and I want to know that you love me. But this emotional regulation, this emotional dance, I think that a lot of men, particularly older men, are just done with that. They're just done with it.
Be able to make herself happy. It's in her to know what makes her happy.
It's in her to make her for her to know what makes her happy. It's in her, so she should know what makes her happy, and it's my duty to set the environment, set the tone. Okay, when I set the environment and set the tone, then men are very calculatory creatures, if that's even a word. We're going to say, okay, I did X, I did Y, now I want Z. Right? I want this to happen. And if it don't happen, then next time I'm not going to do X. That's the way the world works.
The moment your wife is able to figure it out, she spreads that goodness in the house. But women, you have to be consciously ready to be happy. Because happiness is just like cooking. It's just like baking. The moment you are able to prepare a meal, you just want to share. You automatically will not want to eat it yourself. You want people to compliment you. So that is how it is. You just want to share. And the moment you share it, it lights up your entire house. So here are my final thoughts. Sex should never be a reward. Sex should never be a transaction. Sex should be an expression of love, desire, and true partnership. If we want strong marriages, we need real intimacy. Not just physical, but emotional and spiritual too.
So it shoulda, woulda, coulda. Unfortunately, we don't live in should land. So that was her video. So head on over to her channel, give her a like. Head over to Happy Wife School, give her a like. These are two ladies who I know who have done this. There's probably others who have talked about it. Again, Happy Wife School has numerous videos. This young lady here is a fairly new content creator, jumping on the scene here and boosting up. I don't know how many videos she has. Actually, let's read through some of these comments. Most women want to get married, but few of them want to be a wife. And advice to all good men: if you are not responsible for any men, you are not. In advice to all good men, you are not responsible for any woman's happiness. Attempting to make a woman happy will leave you frustrated and in misery, even if you spent your last breath doing so. Find a happy woman with whom you can share your own happiness with. Let me give that a like. Women don't like it when another woman decides to speak truth. Why do women always starve men of intimacy? Simple. Men are in love, women are in a business. Well, she was available for sex before marriage, but because she had an agenda, and after she's got married, she didn't have to put in effort because she thought, I had trapped him. He isn't going anywhere. Men, look after yourself. Let me give that a like too, because this is an issue. This is an issue. This is an issue. The bad boys relieve women of all responsibility and accountability. They don't have to think, they just react. I'm not gonna like that. A great video: when sex stops, the marriage stops. Never isolate yourself. Always make them know you have options, even if you are loyal. Yeah. To the comment about the sex, comment about she's available, women. women don't want to speak the truth. There was a comment up here I thought I was going to comment on. Anyway, most wives are not sexually attracted to their husband. I don't know about most, but this is an issue. He was not her first choice to settle with him because of her fertility window was closing and couldn't find a stable man she's attracted to. Stable man, right? Pookies and Ray Rays all over the place, but who's stable? And eventually you don't want that man anymore. It took me more than a decade of marriage to realize my wife was never in love with me. Once she was done having children, intimacy came to a screeching halt. I was a means to an end, and love was never part of the equation. Terrible. 25 years married to my wife, and I still get it all like we're in our 20s. The physical magnetism is insane. That's great, man. Everybody wants this. Everybody wants that. You know, it is truly, is she truly in marriage, or is she using the marriage? Men are built to challenge power. Women are built to respect power. For women if a woman view a man equal or below, she denied sex. Yeah, that's what it is, man. You're too beta. We're too beta for her. Most people do not understand power. Power has two main elements: strength and knowledge. I'm in a 15-year marriage. She's telling the truth. I take accountability for choosing a wife who doesn't care about my emotional, physical, and spiritual needs of intimacy. It's sad but true. Man, this brother's 15 years in and he can say that. That's horrible. That's horrible. And guys don't want to leave because of the financials or because of the kids. They don't want to leave. Sex is an obligation for both men and women. Just as protection of finances are obligation for a man in a marriage, and respect and service and submission for women. Men just stay single. Men just stay single. All right, that's enough of that. You can go over there and check out the rest of his comments. But that's that. All right. Let me know your thoughts, your opinions. Hit me in the comment section. Much love and peace.